Ladies and gentlemen, Verdansk is finally here, and I have the must-use meta for day one. This is not hypotheticals. We have all the stats. We actually are able to use them inside of the Warzone engine to see how they feel, and there have been some wild changes, not to the meta weapons, but actually how this game plays and feels. They have made insane, like legitimately not like YouTube clickbait or hype, like insane adjustments to the damage numbers to where the time to kill is faster than ever. And then they also had the bullet velocity. Some of these assault rifles that I'm going to show you today can get bullet velocities up to 1,700 meters per second or higher. We are talking, that's like the equivalent of the charge barrel Moors, like the fastest AR bullet velocity we've had in Warzone's history. You are going to get zapped today. Be ready for it. Your positioning needs to be perfect. Your discipline needs to be there because these guns shoot straight, they kill fast, and the bullet velocity is near hit scan. It's lock in. Okay, so we're gonna go through it. We have a lot to cover in today's video. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you do not have the ability to buy individual guns at a buy station anymore. You can only buy loadouts. So in regular solos, it's $6,000 for a loadout. For duos, trios, and quads, it's $10,000 for a loadout. So if you were used to the OG Verdansk days, you would used to have to sacrifice a second perk in order to get overkill and have two primary weapons. Now you have to sacrifice your ability to equip 8 attachments. Now, spoiler alert here, they buffed the crap out of Black Ops 6 weapons, but they have not buffed MW2 and MW3 weapons yet. So basically all of your MW2 and MW3 weapons are effectively useless, except for the Kar 98. They did buff that one. So my philosophy going into this, knowing that money is going to be a little bit tighter, knowing that I can't buy my individual gun at a buy station, I have multiple loadouts set up where I can build these weapons and have both a primary and a secondary instantly, just like the OG Verdansk days with overkill. If we get a load of money or we hit a second loadout later on, I will equip an 8 attachment and we'll talk about those builds. For the most part, I think most people would prefer this playstyle as well, but just something to be aware of. Another thing to be aware of, we have a merch drop. You guys trust me for your merch. You know I got your back when it comes to the loadout. Down in the pinned comment and the description, we have a lot of cool merch. Okay, we have some returning merch for the Verdansk line. You can see the little loadout icon with the IceManIsaac logo on there with the loadout dropping in the back. We have the return of the Verdansk helicopter tours, but this time we're flying out in front of Academy Superstore. Good old helicopter tours t-shirt is back. We have the Academy Airlines bringing a tour back to airport hangars. You can see the little fire station in the back, A-10s overhead dropping in. Academy Airlines with a C-130 in front. We also have some more minimal stuff like what I'm wearing today is my minimal embroidered tee. We've always had that shirt, and now we also have it in blue and black as well, which looks really clean. Those are going to be like long-term staples. Obviously, we have the limited time Verdansk drop. We also, for my military guys, I was ex-military and I prefer a little bit more tactical, like less vibrant look when I'm out and about. We have it in olive green and black with not only the logo in front, big logo in back with the American flag on the right shoulder. We also have it in the classic sand tee as well, which I have worn way too many in my life. Every single one of these shirts not only has custom embroidery on the back for simply better merch, we have hem tags as well. And we've gone through a painstaking process of vetting all of the detailing, not only for the fit and quality of all these shirts, but also the print quality as well. So you shouldn't be experiencing any fading, tearing, cracking, wear and tear. We met with these people in person, felt all of them, and we're trying to develop a lot of this stuff in-house. So it's been super exciting. Oh, and we also, the same hat that I wear literally every single day, we will have an embroidered like puff logo, similar to like what you would see here. And we also have one in white and black as well. So I know that's a lot, but basically we have a minimal line. We have our military or tactical line. And then we have the returning Verdansk loadout, Verdansk helicopter, and the Academy Airlines. So I'm super excited about that. We've been working on that for a long time. If you want to check that out, that'll be down in the pinned comment and the description. Without further ado, okay, let's start getting into some of the builds. So we have some options here when we work through these builds, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so with the 5 attachment builds, you're obviously going to have to sacrifice something. And largely, it just depends on whether or not you are comfortable with iron sight or whether or not you're comfortable with, like you need an optic and you refuse to give it up. But fortunately, you have a lot of options with the builds that I'm going to give you. So the amax And we're not going to go through all the time to kill stuff. We don't have time for all that today. Trust me, with the builds that I'm building, they're going to kill plenty quick, and it's going to be more in the hands of the user, not necessarily 50 milliseconds here, 50 milliseconds here. We will go into a deep dive on only the long range and only the close range, probably here in like a week as we really get time to feel all these out. But once again, I'm here inside of the Warzone engine. This is the Warzone firing range. These are bots with 300 health, and all of these stats have been built out to reflect the fact that these guns will have impressive time to kill. Okay, so as I mentioned, guns are gonna have crazy bullet velocity and crazy fast time to kill. This isn't even one of the fastest killing guns in the game right now. So this is an amax that I have built out for 5 attachment. Now, if you're not comfortable with running an iron sight, we have some options here, but I wanted you to see this because if you look right above my head up there, 1,400 meter per second bullet velocity. They have buffed the crap out of overpressured and the gain twist barrel. But if you're not comfortable with that and you need an optic, you can ditch the overpressured and throw on something like what most people will probably be leaning towards is the Willis 3X. That's the equivalent of the VLK back from Verdansk. And once you get enough kills with it, you can throw on a dot sight. Unfortunately, the dot sight does not work inside of the firing range. AAA game, by the way. It's been a thing in the game for a while. But as you'll see here, make sure you equip your proper loadout. I have now swapped out overpressured for an optic. And it still shoots plenty straight, and it sounds like the OG amax as well. Now you might be wondering, Isaac, what about the monolithic suppressor? You can rock the monolithic suppressor. The monolithic suppressor will help out even more. It'll give you 20% additional bullet velocity. And obviously this, what I'm saying now, cross applies to all the guns. So we're just kind of covering some bases here. We're going to rip through the other ones a lot faster. But the compensator takes away so much of the visual, not only the visual recoil, but the actual recoil. As you can see, it reduces, for this case, 56% visual, 52% kick, and then the 56% of the climb. And so for me, especially for the amax, I want to get rid of that with the compensator, and I don't need that extra bullet velocity. If you really wanted to go crazy and you can control it, congratulations, you now have 1,700 meter per second bullet velocity amax, but that's not something I would suggest. So you guys know the drill. Make sure you take your screenshots. This is my 5 attachment amax with a, let me get my screen out of the way. 5 attachment amax with an iron sight. And then, if you don't want the iron sight, you can rock a 5 attachment amax with a Willis 3X. Cool, moving on. So the SOG, here's the thing with the SMGs. The SMGs are all actually going to feel very competitive, but also slightly inconsistent, okay? All of the SMGs have this blistering fast time to kill, but for most of them, if you miss one shot off the chest, you miss one shot off the head, your time to kill is going to be instantly, you're going to feel a difference in your time to kill. And that's every SMG across the board, except for the PPSH. And what that means is you might have some gunfights that feel a little bit inconsistent, but when people are jumping around, B-hop and drop shot, and you're hitting shots in the arm, shots in the legs, it's going to take a while to kind of feel out which SMG is best. That being said, that's good. That's a lot of variety. That means you have a lot of different SMGs that you can try out. One of the ones that just got buffed and has a really clean iron sight is the SOG. Very good time to kill. Great time to kill. One of the best time to kills up to the chest. As you get to the latter half of the mag, though, it will start to pull. It starts to pull to the right on the second half of the mag, so be prepared for that when using the SOG. For the SOG, we have the compensator, we have the reinforced barrel because we want a little bit more damage range. Vertical foregrip is so important for so many guns. This is like the commando foregrip for those of you who are coming back from Verdansk because it helps out, as you can see up there, with horizontal recoil control. And horizontal recoil control is tough to control. Vertical is not that tough. Horizontal control is what I would suggest. You can rock the Ranger, which will help out your sprint speed. But in my opinion, sprint speed isn't as important as it used to be because we can pull out our knife and have the fastest sprint speed ever. So I build for recoil control for the average player, extended mag 2, and the quick draw grip. That still gives me a plenty usable, almost 700 meters per second bullet velocity, great time to kill, and this is my SOG SMG. Now, once again, feel free on the SMG side to kind of trade some things out, see what you like. I'll give you some of my favorite options, but there is a lot of flexibility. The Kilo 141. So this is kind of the other side of the 5 attachment build. I have the monolithic because the Kilo is more controllable than the amax, so it doesn't need a compensator. It can, and with a compensator, dear God, it's a beam. And it does have a good iron sight, but if you prefer, you can rock a scope. So same thing here. You can swap the scope for overpressured. You can swap the compensator for the monolithic suppressor. As you can see, a very, very straight shooter. Now, as you can see, it does have, and that's pretty standard with a lot of these guns, sharp climb, and then pretty easy to control. So, if you want, as I mentioned prior, here is your with a sight Kilo. But then if you want, you can get rid of the sight, or what I would suggest, honestly, for the Kilo, I think a lot of you guys would appreciate this, is Kilo with a compensator is a hyper beam. You can see it takes away a lot of that like visual shake. I mean, you can legitimately just aim for someone's head at like 100 meters. It is gross. And then with the 8 attachment builds I'm going to show you later, it really starts to stack up. So that is the suggested build if you prefer a little bit less recoil, throw on a compensator instead. Once again, if you guys appreciate the builds that I make for you all and the time that I spent both off stream and on stream trying to figure out these builds between the stats and the actual feel, because the feel is so important on top of the stats, make sure, do me a favor, drop a like on this video and subscribe, because we have so much content coming for this channel. On top of that, it'll also be in the pinned comment as well. We have the second channel, the IceManIsaac Warzone Academy, dedicated to even more Warzone guides. There's so much to cover. And with me doing live streams now on YouTube, I kind of got to split it up between multiple channels because there's so much knowledge to share, and YouTube hates if I post multiple times on a single channel. So we'll be posting over on that second channel again, starting with Warzone Verdansk. This gun's disgusting. Okay. The Tonto. When I tell you that time to kill is fast in this game, count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Three plates. The numbers back it up. It does like 75 to the head. Yeah, you're gonna 4-bullet people if it's all headshots. Even without all headshots, you throw in a couple headshots like you naturally do in a gunfight, and they're just evaporated. Yeah. Now, it does have a slower fire rate. It almost kind of gives me like Milano vibes a little bit. And it's not as good once it hits its damage drop-off, just like any SMG. But just keep that in mind. It's disgusting. The Tonto with 5 attachments, compensator, reinforced, vertical, extended mag, quick draw. We're gonna start ripping through the rest of these. Make sure you take a screenshot. Moving on, the Grau. The Grau is hidden, okay? The Grau, now, I should have mentioned this earlier. Isaac, how do I get the monolithic suppressor? Okay, go into the battle pass, and you will see as you go through the battle pass, there are some weapons that are hidden. Okay, so I'm here on page 5, and you will see there's the Grau 556 conversion kit. You have to go through the battle pass and then select this right here, and that will give you the Grau conversion kit. Okay, same thing goes for the monolithic suppressor. Go through onto page 7. On page 7, you will see monolithic suppressor. That's how you unlock it. For the other ones, amax is on page 6. The HDR is on page 3. And then you get the Kilo 141 by loading up Warzone. The second you load up Warzone, boom, it's unlocked in your inventory. Okay, so let's keep it moving. The Grau 556 is hidden under the SWAT 556. From there, you go in all the way to the back, you throw on the Grau conversion kit, and now you have the Grau that we know and love. We got the quick draw grip to give us a faster ADS. You need the extended mag, so that way you get 50 round mag that we're used to, vertical full grip, and then the compensator. Okay, I really don't suggest running this as an 8 attachment weapon because you can't throw a barrel on it. The stock isn't that useful. The laser's not that useful. And an optic, it's got the cleanest iron sight in the game. So for me, the Grau, I run it as a 5 attachment or not at all. I just don't think it's worth using as an 8 attachment weapon. Very, very, very clean iron sight. Very low recoil. Time to kill is pretty comparable to some of the others. The fastest time to kills in the game right now are going to be, at least in the sub 50 meter range, are going to be the AK-47, amax, GPR. This is definitely going to be one of those consistency guns, but I mean, if you're ripping for headshots, it's a lot of fun. Okay, we have the build right here. If you haven't taken your screenshot, make sure you do right now. Moving on, we have the PPSH. As I mentioned, I traditionally don't like the PPSH. I think it's kind of it's an uglier, like kind of clunkier gun. It doesn't move like an uglier, clunky gun. It's actually got some of the best movement stats of a lot of the guns out there, but it's got a horrible muzzle flash. So what we had to do was throw a suppressor on it. But as you can still see, especially in this incandescent lighting that they do, you see all the smoke flying off your screen. So what I'll say is, even though this is the most forgiving SMG in terms of hitting leg shots, hitting arm shots, and still getting a really fast time to kill, it's not the prettiest gun to look at, even though it's got a clean iron sight, just because of all that smoke and haze. Once again, any SMG after about that 50 meter damage drop off is gonna struggle. Okay, so we have, for the PPSH, we have the suppressor because that gets rid of the muzzle flash. Otherwise, it's really bad. I have the recoil springs because it's got some horizontal shake, extended mag 2, vertical foregrip, and the gain twist barrel. This still gives me 795 meters per second. If you want to, you can throw an optic on it. You could also throw overpressured, but that'll bring it up to 950. I don't think you need that much bullet velocity for an SMG. This is the build that I've kind of settled on, that I'm enjoying with the PPSH. Moving on, we have the Kar 98. Okay, the Kar 98 actually got a significant buff because they buffed the damage that it does to the stomach, and they buffed the damage that it does to the legs and arms. What does that mean? That means, as you can see here, it does 180 to the chest, 180 to the arms, 180 to the stomach, and then 140 everywhere else except for the head, which obviously does 300, and it'll do 300 damage within 67 meters. So it's a one-shot headshot within 67 meters, and within 67 meters, it's a two-shot, basically body shot. If you hit a chest shot, arms, or stomach, you can hit them anywhere else on the body, and you can two-shot someone. That's powerful. Like, for how fast this gun shoots, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so equipped Kar 98. I can shoot someone in the stomach, shoot someone in the legs, they're dead. I can shoot someone in the arm, shoot someone in the legs, they're dead. I cannot shoot someone in the lower arm and shoot someone in the legs, right? Because that's 140 each. So, upper arm, anywhere on the body. Stomach, anywhere on the body. Basically, if you shoot them and you get a plate crack, hit them again, they're gonna die. So, what I've decided to do is I rock the Forge Tac Delta because the Forge Tac Delta helps speed up my ADS. I have the Sonic Suppressor, the Precision Gewehr 7.62 long barrel, the recon sling, and the high grain rounds. You got some options here if you want to try different stocks, different lasers. I like the recon sling because it helps out, I believe, if I remember correctly, with ADS and flinch. There we go, flinch and aim idle sway, so it doesn't sway as much on you. And make sure you take a screenshot. I'm enjoying the Kar 98, but I'm going to be honest, HDR is going to be back in my hands. Okay, this one here, we've shot the Jackal before. It has a very competitive time to kill. This is what a lot of the guys are using inside of the comp scene for Call of Duty League. Actually, I think it's what they're all using. Compensator, Reinforced, Ranger, Extended Mag, Balanced Stock. And the nice thing is it still has 625 meters per second when it comes to bullet velocity. I'll show you it real quick. My philosophy with a Kar 98, since it is so fast, I feel like I can handle mid-range, and I want an SMG with it, right? Because I can handle mid-range with the Kar 98, so I'm perfectly fine rocking an SMG. I don't need too much mid-range when I have a Kar 98. And here is your Jackal SMG build. Now, once again, we're going to go through with a fine-tooth comb on every single one of these. I'm going to tell you which ones I love the most. But for right now, for day one, every single one of these is going to treat you well, okay? Including our good friend, the HDR. Now, I have put a different scope on the HDR. And I'll give you two different scope options that I'm really fond of, because the default scope for the HDR is hot booty cheeks, okay? And literal booty cheeks. It looks like a booty cheek is sitting on your face. Not a good time. It looks like, I mean, it is a good time, but like not right now, it's not a good time. It reminds me of like the old ZRG, right? Where the ZRG scope would just cover your entire face, and that just kills your situational awareness. Like, I can't even see those 25-meter signs down in the low left and low right. I can't even see the 25-meter signs when I'm aiming up here. So what I do is I throw all the way down, and my personal preference is I like either the Remuda dual zoom or the 7x scope. As you start to get to these other ones, you'll see right above my head, it says it hurts your aim down sight speed. So I don't want to go there and slow my gun down any, but you don't get good aim down sight speed until you start getting into the red dots, and we're obviously not going to rock that. So I'm going to get the most zoom possible with the least penalty. And for starters, I like the Remuda dual zoom because it gives me a really nice, clean dot sight. That gives me a lot of situational awareness. I can see the 10-meter signs, but then I can hybrid zoom and zoom in pretty far. It's got a nice clean dot. If you're not a fan of that, you can try, and I also really like this one. I might be back and forth on it, the Blandwell 7X. Now, I don't like the default scope for the Blandwell 7X because I really like dot sights, but you can equip a dot sight by unlocking it through Warzone Zombies multiplayer. Unfortunately, it does not work in the firing range, but it is a super clean sight with a very, very thin bezel, so you get max situational awareness. It doesn't pull out as far as the 6X. You'll see I can't see those 10-meter signs, but throw a dot sight on there. It's got to be a good time. This is one-shot headshot anywhere across the map. And so what we've done is we've built it out for max bullet velocity. So we have the monolithic suppressor, which helps out with bullet velocity. It will slow down our ADS, worth it. Gain twist, max bullet velocity. The lightweight bipod helps out with aiming idle sway. Boys, trust me, put it on. It reduces it by like 40% or 50. And without it, that thing is swaying in the wind. You want the lightweight bipod on. From there, we have overpressured once again, helping out with that bullet velocity. We'll have an 8 attachment 1 at the end. I don't even think it's that necessary, but I think this is like the essential attachments. And you got some options. You can try out either the Blandwell scope or the Remuda dual zoom. But right now, go ahead and take a screenshot. And then here are the two scopes that I suggest. We'll put them at the bottom of your screen. The Blandwell or the Remuda dual zoom. Nice. Dude, I'm so excited to play today, and I'm so excited to use this. Dear God, the AK-47. We mentioned how time to kill would be a little bit inconsistent with some SMGs, right? Not the case with ARs, or at least especially the AK-47. Ready for this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so how does that feel? No team shots. No, oh, they got hit by a grenade first. Oh, by the way, damage range is crazy. Yeah. So this is my sniper support, right? We talked about how the Kar 98, I want an SMG. This can reach out a little bit further. Plenty controllable, long range, boom. This is gonna be my number one loadout because I love the HDR so much, and this is the perfect complement to it. Compensator, Ranger foregrip. If you want more recoil control, you can go vertical, but I like the additional sprint speed that I get from this. Kind of up to you, whether or not you want the less horizontal recoil or not. I still think it moves pretty decent. Totally personal preference there. Extended mag 1 gives me 40 rounds. I don't need 50 rounds, and I especially don't need 60 rounds for a sniper support. And 40 rounds of 7.62 is not the same as like 40 rounds on a 9mm SOG, right? So this does a lot of damage per mag. I still get 840 meters per second, and it chunks 45 damage per bullet. It's a good time. Quick draw grip, so it's a little bit faster in the ADS. Infiltrator stock gives me faster aim walking speed. Dealer's choice between the Ranger foregrip and the vertical foregrip. You cannot rock something like the monolithic, in my opinion, because it slows down your ADS. Slowing down your ADS is not worth it with something that is going to be running as a sniper support. No point in running any of the barrels either, because we don't need that absurd bullet velocity because it's a sniper support. We're shooting under 50 meters, more than likely. Even with no barrel, it's a 43 meter damage drop off. Like, this thing shoots missiles. Take your screenshot. Make sure, if you haven't already, like the video, check out the merch drop, subscribe, Warzone Academy. We'll keep it rolling. Sidebar. Tacticals, lethals, perks, okay? Tacticals, I got smokes, impact nades. Smokes because you're gonna be better off not being seen than trying to use a stim. I used to use stims, but honestly, you're just gonna get freaking ripped. So I'd rather just not be seen at all and have a smoke grenade. You could be a total pansy and run the shock charge, but I hate you and you have a small ween. I really wish they took them out of the game. Speaking of having a small ween, by choice, I have to rock impact nades. Also, if we want to talk about it, experimental gas, if you want to get toxic, experimental gas and shock charge are just unbelievably toxic. They don't belong in the game. And if you want to be cheesy and get some free kills, there you go. Impact nades, I wish they weren't in the game, but especially with how fast the time to kill is, you hit someone with one of those, you can swing a corner and they'll just be evaporated. Do be careful though, having lethals in your hands now, because with that faster time to kill, you might get yourself in a bad situation. But impact nades and Simtacs are going to be go-to. C4s could be really nice because C4s one-shot every vehicle in the game, just like OG Verdansk. Spring mines also one-shot every vehicle in the game. Both of those besides the cargo truck. If the cargo truck is a little weak, then you can one-shot it. But if it's full health, it needs 2 spring mines or 2 C4s. I still think I'm going to lean on the side of impact grenades. Maybe C4s second. Would probably be my pick. Survivor. The health regen takes 6 seconds. That's way too freaking long. We have it down to 3 seconds. On top of that, your teammates also res you faster. Tracker. It allows you to chase enemies down, chase their footsteps, and when you shoot someone, it pings an outline of them. So if they are running through smoke and you shoot them, you can basically track them through the smoke. It's like legal wall hacks. They can't fix their anti-cheat, so they just gave everyone else cheats with Tracker. It's wonderful. It's like Caldera Combat Scout if you ever played that. And then I rock Bird's Eye. That way, whenever I pop a UAV, economy is going to be a little bit lower in this game. So when I do pop a UAV, I want to see everyone on that UAV. A consideration though, you only carry 5 plates. And if you find a tempered vest or a plate vest, you only carry 8 plates. So it might be a consideration later on, just due to the simple plate economy, you might consider running tempered. But for now, I want to find people on my UAV, including people who are ghosted. So I rock Bird's Eye. And then you need to rock Overkill in order to have 2 weapons. But as we move on and start to rock 8 weapons, we'll rock Gunfighter. When you rock Gunfighter, you have to equip either a pistol, launcher, or special. Okay. None of the launchers are really too worth it like they used to be because you don't have amped. It used to be like you would have an RPG and you would reload amped super quick and then launch another RPG over and over and over again. RPGs are actually really strong in this game. They made it to where like within 4 meters, RPGs do like 160 damage, which means 4 meters, 12 feet. That's an entire room. You could launch in 2 RPGs and get a kill. That's pretty toxic. Just keep that in mind. It could happen, but you can't reload as fast as you used to with amped. So what I would suggest is running the Grakova. A lot of people don't like semi-automatic weapons. I'm kind of the same camp. And getting rid of semi-automatic weapons for something like a Grakova, you can still see it's got good movement speed. I'm still moving and grooving, even though I got a 60-round ball sack mag hanging underneath. But great time to kill. It's only about 100 milliseconds slower than meta SMGs, which really isn't that much. That's a good slide cancel. You can still see. Great time to kill. You don't necessarily need, and I can't pull it out right now, crazy fast sprint speed on your secondary because you can pull out your knife. So it's not like, oh my God, I need my secondary to be the fastest thing in the world. No, I need my secondary to kill. And once I kill someone, I'm going to take their SMG. And then I'm going to rock my 8 attachment amax, which doesn't freaking move, right? Best of both worlds. So for all of my 8 attachment guns, I'm currently rocking a red dot Grakova. If you want to, you could consider rocking something like the Akimbos. I know those are pretty nasty, but I prefer the consistency of having that mid-range engagement. Assault grip, extended mag, gain twist barrel compensator, and the Kepler reflex. You could rock this for an additional 3 meters of damage range, but I like the additional bullet velocity. Here is my screenshot for the Grakova. So that's what I rock on every single gun that I'm rocking 8 attachments. We already talked about these guns earlier, right? So let's just go ahead and keep... We'll rip through these pretty quick. So for the AMAX, we just added on some things we couldn't add beforehand. We added on the quick draw grip, we added on the stock, and we get both overpressured and the Willis 3X. Once again, 1,400 meters per second bullet velocity is more than enough. If you want more, you sure throw on monolithic suppressor, but in my opinion, I think 1,400 with near zero recoil is better than 1,600 or 1,700. That's harder to control. Personal preference. Make sure you take a screenshot. Just remember there at the end, it's overpressured. Overpressured is overpowered. Okay, make sure you take a screenshot. Moving on from there, we have the Kilo. Interesting thing with the Kilo, we can throw on the quick draw grip. It's faster, gives us faster ADS. You can throw on the no stock, which gives you faster movement speed. Once I get the infiltrator stock, that's what I would suggest because it gives you faster aim down sight walking speed. I just don't have it unlocked yet. Having no stock doesn't hurt your recoil like it would in previous games. So you can still see Kilo no stock, like absolute hyper beam. Plenty fast time to kill, would be very viable on both controller and mouse and key. Here is your Kilo 141. We said, remember, overpressured at the end. I would pretty much always rock overpressured. It's just so good, at least on 8 attachment weapons. Yeah, man. And I don't even see the point in running monolithic suppressor, to be honest. I mean, that gives you 1,700 if you want. Like, it shoots straight. It keeps you off the mini-map. It does slow down your ADS. Keep that in mind. Monolithic slows down your ADS, and you just have that like vertical bump. For me, I know the monolithic it's supposed to be back. It's supposed to be amazing. It's not like the OG one. The OG one helped out with damage range. It helped out with bullet velocity. It helped out with sound suppression, and I don't think it hurt your ADS that much. But now it's just, I think it also helped out with your recoil control. It was like the most overpowered attachment in the game. It had like no trade-offs. Now it's kind of more like Battle Royale that we have now, or if you played Blackout back in the day, compensator, good for recoil, and helps your damage range. The suppressor, well, it technically doesn't help your damage range. That was the old one. So compensator, good for recoil. The suppressor keeps you off the minimap, helps your bullet velocity, but does not help your recoil. So this is what I would suggest. This is my 8 attachment Kilo. So we got the AMAX, the Kilo. We don't need another AMAX. I will show you a fun gun just for the heck of it. Well, since we have it here, just another absolute absurdity fact. Okay, 1,800 meter per second bullet velocity. Screw it. Take a screenshot. It's the Model L. A lot of these guns are pretty dang close in terms of time to kill. Once again, not as controllable as the other guns, so I wouldn't like super suggest it or anything. If you threw on, it's tough because it has horizontal bounce. So even if you throw on the compensator only helps out with vertical recoil, whereas the vertical foregrip helps out with horizontal recoil, which is really tough to control. So that's just kind of a fun gun if you want to try it, whatever. This is kind of a effed up gun. It's not a fun gun. It's going to be fun to use. It's going to be messed up to die to. It's the AK that we talked about earlier, but now, instead of running it as sniper support, we're running it as a main AR. And so if you're running this, let's say inside of Rebirth Island or something, oh God. Or if you're more of an aggressive player and you're not taking long range engagements on top of rooftops, but you want to absolutely smoke people, you can give this a try with the 3X. You can give it a try. One of the other really popular sites that people rock inside of Warzone is called the Volsky. It kills really fast. It kills really, really fast. So what we've done is we've thrown on overpressured. Oh, you know what? I'm like, it's actually shaking a little bit more than I remember when I was testing this gun out. I'm like, I guess I'm just washed while I'm recording. No, that was without a compensator, by the way. That was without a compensator. So let's throw on a compensator. Yeah. Yeah. So once again, feel free to try it out with either the 3X or the Volsky. Once again, with the 3X, you can throw on a custom dot sight, so it's not the awkward kind of cross look. A little bit more shaky than something like the Kilo or the Grau, but it does way more damage per bullet. And you're just going to be ripping people across the map. Okay. AK-74. Take your screenshot. Write me out. If you wanted to, technically, you could get rid of the overpressured rounds for recoil springs. It would bring your bullet velocity down to 1200. I am a big fan of high bullet velocity. 1200 is still very high. But now you throw on recoil springs. And it's even more controllable than what it was before. Totally personal preference. Just something you can do there. Cypher, you guys have seen this one before. This was the meta for the longest time if you played Urzikstan. It's got a little bit of a horizontal shake back to back. If you have something that's not leveled up, you could run this today inside of Warzone. It would treat you really well. Nice thing about the Cypher, with the recent buffs, Cypher has a very high bullet velocity, which means even with compensator, it gets you up to 1360 bullet velocity. If you wanted to throw on the monolithic, which I wouldn't suggest, it gets up to 1633. The rest of this I have built out as standard. Go ahead, take a screenshot. It's fun, man. It's so nice. I've been making meta loadout videos. Actually, I don't even think I made a meta loadout video for Black Ops 6 because when it dropped, there was only like 2 guns worth using. Like this meta is actually really, really broad on both the SMG and the AR side. Don't get me wrong. There will be a defined meta, but like it's a super broad meta and it's really exciting to see. HDR 8 attachment. Okay, we threw on some things. We threw on the heavy stock. That's going to help us out with flinch resistance. Extended mag 1 gives us 2 extra bullets without hurting our ADS. We threw on the, I mean, that's really it. So we have overpressured, which we wanted before. Heavy stock. Oh, and then quick draw grip. Quick draw grip is going to help out our ADS, right? For me, the essentials are the aim sway because it's so bad. The gain twist, the monolithic, the Remuta double zoom. But I added on these 3 since we just got the extra attachments. It's not something I think is necessary, but if I can pick it up, I'll pick it up late game. HDR 8 attachments. And then finally, you could rock what you want. There's a lot of different options out there. I think it would be nice if you throw on one of your SMGs as an 8 attachment, right? Just in case you have it and you're just totally stacked on loot. Let's say you want to run an 8 attachment AR, and then you go and pick your 8 attachment SMG. You can. This is the P90 once again, or the PPSH. I wish it was the P90. It doesn't matter necessarily where you're hitting them, which is a great thing. If someone's drop shotting, if you're hip firing, if you're jumping around, you're missing shots, it's still going to have a very solid TTK, as opposed to some of the other guns, where as you spray around a target like that, and that's me moving my thumbstick, like that's where the PPSH feels good, right? Is you can move around a target. You don't have to hit all headshots, all chest shots, which is why I think it makes a really fun weapon to consider. Now, we're going to have full up every stat, micromanaging every detail. You guys know I'm a nerd. That's why I like to do this stuff. That'll come in the future. Make sure if you haven't already, take your screenshot of the 8 attachment PPSH. You can build 8 attachments with any of the SMGs that you want in the game. Not any of them, but your traditional things like the KSV is still going to be really solid. The Tonto looks like it's going to be gross. The SOG is up there. The PPSH. The C9 should be decent, but it's a little bit worse than the SOG on pretty much every line online. But that wraps up my first video for Verdansk Warzone. We have all the accurate numbers for after the update. We've been able to use them, shoot them. This is the Warzone engine that I'm shooting on right now. We know how they're going to play in game, and just be aware, crazy fast bullet velocity, crazy fast time to kill. Be disciplined out there today. Your positioning has to be amazing. Okay. Hold those shoulders close to corners. Make sure your eyes are peeled. Keep those UAVs up. We're going to have a lot of guides coming here. Classic Warzone Academy videos that you guys know and love. If you guys enjoy that and enjoy that style of video, make sure to drop a like. Consider picking up some Warzone Academy merch. Pinned comment. Subscribe to the Warzone Academy second channel for even more Warzone content. And if you really are loving the content, we've had a lot of people come and become members as well, both here on Twitch and on YouTube. YouTube member count, Twitch member count. You guys have been crazy supportive of the dream. I've been able to take my content full time. I was working a full-time job during the last Verdansk, and now I'm here full time, back on the OG map where it all started. So it's a pretty cool feeling. Excited to give you guys my all without any distractions, and it's gonna be good. Okay, I'll be live here on YouTube as well. Make sure to check that out. If you're catching the video, I should be live later. I'll be live on Twitch, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.